if you're planning on starting to receive Social Security at age 65, because everyone does it or because that's the Medicare age, stop now. You're about to make a mistake that could cost you over $100,000 over the course of your retirement. 65 isn't the only dangerous age. There are 3 specific ages where starting to receive Social Security is mathematically the worst decision you can make. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what they are, why they're so bad, and how much money you'll lose if you make this mistake. I know you worked for 30, 40 years paying into Social Security, but choosing the wrong age to start receiving benefits can destroy hundreds of thousands of dollars in benefits that are legally yours. If you're 60 or older and planning when to start receiving Social Security, like this post now, and subscribe to RetireWise with notifications turned on, because I'm going to show you the decisions that can save you or cost you a fortune in retirement. Let's get straight to the point, because these 3 ages are traps that millions of Americans fall into every year. Before revealing the 3 worst ages, let me give you a quick context on how timing affects how much you get paid. You can start receiving Social Security as early as 62 or as late as 70. Your full retirement age depends on when you were born. For most people today, it's 66 or 67. If you start before your FRA, your benefit is permanently reduced. If you wait until after your FRA, your benefit permanently increases by 8% per year until you are 70. Now, here's where it gets interesting. It's not as simple as always wait until 70. There are 3 specific ages that are particularly bad because you lose money in ways most people don't realize. Let's start with the worst. Age number 1 to never start, 65 years old. I know, you're thinking, but 65 is when Medicare starts. It's the traditional retirement age. Why would that be bad? That's exactly why. 65 is a psychological trap. Here's the problem. 65 is not your full retirement age, unless you were born before 1938. If you were born between 1943 and 1954, your FRA is 66. If you were born in 1960 or later, your FRA is 67. So if you start at 65, you're still starting early. Your benefit is reduced, but you're not starting early enough to maximize your years of payments like someone who starts at 62. You're in the worst of both worlds, a reduction without compensation. Let me show you the real math. Let's say that his benefit at age 67, his prime age, would be $2,500 a month. If you start at 65, you receive approximately $2,000 to $120 per month. That's a reduction of $280 per month, or $3,360 per year for the rest of your life. Over 20 years of retirement, that's $67,000 to $100 lost. But wait, it gets worse. If you simply waited just 2 years until you were 67, you would receive the full $2,500. Those 2 years of waiting are worth $3,360 a year, every year, until you die. And if you live to 87, which is close to the average life expectancy, you would have received $50,000 more, simply by waiting from 65 to 67. But I lose 2 years of payments, you say. True. 2 years at $2,000 to $120 is $53,000 to $180. But you only need to live to about $77 to break even. After that, you're earning an extra $3,360 every year. So, 65 is literally the age where you receive a significant reduction, but without the benefit of extra years of payments. It's the worst possible combination. You're receiving reduced benefits, almost like at 62, but you're not getting the extra years of pay that would justify starting early. Age number 2 to never start, 69 years old. Wait, you say? I thought waiting was a good thing? Waiting is good, up to 70. But stopping at 69 is leaving a huge amount of money on the table. Here's why. Between the ages of 8 and 70, your benefit increases by 8% per year. That's 2/3 of 1% per month. So if you're for 67 and you wait until 70, you earn 24% more than your benefit at full age. If you're for 66, you earn 32% more. Now, Here's the 69-year trap. If you start at 69, you only get 2/3 of that raise. You waited almost until the end, but missed the last and biggest chunk. Using our example of $2,500 at the ripe old age of 67, at 67, $2,500 a month. At 68, $2,700 a month, 8% more. At 69, $2,916 a month, 16% more. At 70, $3,100 a month, 24% more. If you start at 69, you receive $2,916. If you waited just one more year, you would receive $3,100. That's a difference of $184 per month. Okay, but I lose a year's worth of payments, you say. True. 1 year at $2,916 is $34,992. But the difference of $184 per month means you reach the break-even point in approximately 15 years at age 84. If you live to 85, 87, 90, you gain thousands and thousands more for having waited just one more year. But here's the worst part. Psychologically, if you've already waited until 69, you've demonstrated that you can wait. You've already delayed gratification. Why stop a year away from the maximum? It's like running a marathon and stopping at kilometer 40 of 42. You've already done the hard work. Why not finish? 69 is the age where you've made almost all the sacrifices of waiting, but haven't received the full reward. It's frustrating because many people choose 69 thinking, I'll split the difference between 67 and 70. But mathematically, it's the worst possible middle ground. Age number 3 to never start, 62 years old, but only in one specific situation. Wait, 62 isn't always a bad thing? That's right. If you need the money, have health problems, or have good strategic reasons, 62 can make sense. I even made a whole video about it. But there is one situation where 62 is disastrous, when you are still working and earning well. Here's why. If you start receiving Social Security before you reach retirement age and you are still working, there is an earnings test. In 2025, if you earn more than $22,320 per year, you lose $1 of benefits for every $2 you earn above that limit. Let me give you a real example. You are 62 years old. Your benefit would be $1,800 a month, or $21,600 a year. You are still working and earning $60,000 a year. You earn $60,000, which is $37,680 above the limit of $22,320. You lose half of that in benefits, $18,840. This means that out of your $21,600 annual benefit, you only received $1,760. That's $230 per month. You are receiving less than 13% of your benefit while still working. And worse, you are receiving the reduced version permanently. But I get that money back later, you say. Partially true. When you reach full retirement age, the SSA recalculates and increases your benefit to compensate for the months that were withheld. But you never fully recover it, and during all those years between 62 and your FRA, you're receiving almost nothing while permanently reducing your base benefit. It's the worst possible scenario. You receive the reduced benefit, but you don't even get paid while you're working. And you're still being penalized if you're going to work until 65, 66, 67 anyway. There's absolutely no point in starting at 62. Zero. You're literally throwing money away. The rule is simple. If you're going to continue working above the earnings limit, don't start receiving Social Security. Wait until you stop working or until you reach full retirement age, whichever comes first. Starting to work full-time at 62 is mathematically the most expensive mistake you can make. It can easily cost you between $100,000 and $150,000 over the course of your retirement. Now, let me show you the complete math of how much money you lose at each of these 3 ages using a real example. Let's use someone whose full age is 67 and whose benefit at that age would be $2,500 per month. Scenario 1. It begins at 65. He receives $2,120 a month. He lives to 87, the average life expectancy. Total received, $2,200. And $20 times 12 months times 22 years equals $500. And $86,080. If I had waited until 67, $2,500 times 12 times 20 years equals $600,000. Difference, $13,920 lost. Does that seem small? Now add inflation and cost of living adjustments that are applied to the base benefit. Over 20 years, the real difference is closer to $30,000 to $50,000. Scenario 2, it begins at 69. He receives $2,916 a month. He lives to 87. Total, $2,916 times 12 times 18 years equals $630,188 if I had waited until 70. $3,100 times 12 times 17 years equals $600. And $32,400. Difference, you lost $2,112 in gross value. But with COLA over time, the real difference is $15,000 to $25,000. But here's the worst part. If you live to 90 instead of 87, the difference explodes. At 69, $2,916 times 12 times 21 years equals $734,832. At 70, $3,100 times 12 times 20 years equals $744,000. The difference, $9,168 in base value, but with COLA, closer to $40,000 to $60,000. Scenario 3 starts at 62 while earning $60,000 a year. For 5 years, up to 67, you receive almost nothing because of the earnings test. After age 67, you receive an increased benefit due to recalculation, but it is still based on the original reduced version. Compared to someone who waited until 67 and never had reductions, the difference over 25 years of retirement, $80,000 to $120,000 easily. These are not rough estimates. They are calculations based on official SSA tables. So what are the best ages to start? Age 1, 62 years old, but only if you need the money immediately, have serious health problems that shorten life expectancy, or have stopped working completely and have no other sources of income. Age 2, 67 years, your full age if you were born in 1960 or later. This is the neutral point. No reduction, no increase. It's safe and solid. Age 3, 70 years if you can wait. You maximize your lifetime benefit, especially if you have longevity in your family. What you should never do, 65, a middle ground with no advantage. 69, so close to the maximum but not quite there. 60 to while working full-time, the worst of all worlds. So, how do you decide what's right for you? Step 1. Go to ssa.gov and check your benefit estimates at age 62 on your FRA and at age 70. You need the actual numbers, not generic estimates. Step 2. Be honest about your health and life expectancy. Look at your family history. If your parents died at 70, waiting until 70 probably doesn't make sense for you. If they lived to 90, waiting is golden. Step 3. Calculate your other sources of income. Do you have $401,000, IRA, pension, savings? Can you live off these sources while letting Social Security grow? Step 4. Consider your marital status. If you are married and are the higher income spouse, waiting until 70 protects your spouse with a larger survivor's benefit when you die. Step 5. Use break-even point calculators. ARP and SSA have free calculators that show you how old you need to be to make waiting worthwhile. Step 6. If your situation is complex, talk to a financial planner specializing in Social Security. It may cost between $500 and $1,000, but it can save you $50,000 to $100,000 in bad decisions. Step 7. Review your decision annually. If you plan to wait until 70, but your health changed drastically at 68, reassess. Flexibility is important. The honest reality check you need to hear. There is no perfect age for everyone. What exists are 3 ages that are mathematically worse for most situations. 65 is bad because you get a reduction without the benefit of extra years of contributions. 69 is bad because you waited almost until the maximum but missed the last 8% increase. Earning 60 while working is bad because you lose benefits through the earnings test while permanently reducing your base benefit. Avoid these 3, and you'll already be better off than millions of Americans who make these mistakes every year. The best age for you depends on your health, finances, family, and goals. But now you know which ones to avoid. If this video saved you from a $100,000 mistake, leave a like now. Seriously, this information might be the most valuable thing you watched this year. Sign up for RetireWise here and turn on notifications. I post videos every week about Social Security decisions that can cost or save tens of thousands of dollars. Information based on real data, not opinions. Share this video with anyone you know who is approaching 62, 65, or 69 years old. You could literally save someone from losing a fortune. And comment below. How old are you now? When are you planning to start receiving Social Security after watching this video? Have you changed your mind? Tell me in the comments. In the comments, I'll also include direct links to the SSA and AARP break-even point calculators, to the My Social Security website to view your estimates, and to my other videos on Social Security timing strategies. Look, you worked for 30, 40 years paying into Social Security. Thousands and thousands of dollars came out of your paycheck every month. Choosing the wrong age to start receiving benefits can destroy $50,000, $100,000, even $150,000 in benefits that are legally yours. Don't make that mistake. Avoid those 3 ages. Do the math for your specific situation and make the most informed decision of your life. Timing is everything with Social Security. A difference of 1 or 2 years can be the difference between a comfortable retirement and a tight retirement. Thanks for watching until the end here on RetireWise. See you in the next video. Until then, check your numbers, avoid those dangerous ages, and maximize every penny you're entitled to.